Yeah. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone, from wherever you are joining us from this today. Thank you for joining us for another sessions where we'll be looking at graduate opportunity in different parts of the world. In the last 2 weeks, we've looked at graduate opportunity in we looked at graduate opportunity in Australia last week, how to navigate graduate opportunity in Australia, and the last 2 weeks we look at graduate opportunities in the United States. So today we'll be looking at graduate opportunity in Middle East and Asia. So if you didn't attend any of the two previous sessions and you would like to watch the recording, please feel free to reach out to me and I can share with you the recording. So today we have two fantastic guest speakers who will be walking us through graduate opportunities in uh, in Asia and then graduate opportunity in the Middle East. So if you have your friend, don't be the only one benefiting from this meeting today. If you have some of your friends that are yet to join, feel free to share the link with them that yes, the meeting has started. And then in the next 2 minutes, we'll be starting with the with Dr. Ismail, who will be talking us through navigating graduate school opportunities in Asia generally. So I give you 2 minutes to tell a friend to tell a friend to join us for this call tonight. Hello, can you hear me? We can hear you. So I
Hi,
have
Philip. I'm also just testing if you can hear me. I want to make sure that my system is functioning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Ah, thank you.
Yes, I can hear you. So I will be starting now. And if you have not invited your friend, you can still do that while we are starting the webinar for today. All right, as most of you must have seen this flyer flying around, thank you once again for joining us, and apologies for starting a bit late. And we'll be starting. Let me go through the. So we'll be starting with Mr. Ismail Damilare Isiaka, who is a recent graduate of Wuhan Institute of Virology, University of Chinese Academic of Science, China. I know it's early morning in China right now. Thank you for your sacrifice and for your time to be awake now when you're supposed to be enjoying your sleep, to share from your wealth of experience on navigating graduate school opportunity in Asia. We really do not take that for granted. Thank you so much. And thank you, Dr. Bello, for the recommendation. I think I saw you on the call. Thank you so much. So, Mr. Ismail Damilare is a recent graduate of Wuhan Institute of Virology, University of Chinese Academic of Science, China, and he completed his Masters of Science in Microbiology with a focus on computational virology. Ismaila is a recipient of prestigious awards, including the ANSO Scholarship China and the President's Scholarship South Korea. He is committed to science communication and student mentorship, using his academic experience across Africa and Asia to guide aspiring scholars in navigating international scholarship opportunity. So, with a round of applause, please welcome Dr. Mr. Ismaila, who will be running us through navigating opportunities in Asia. Will be speaking with us for the next 30-40 minutes, and we'll also be having Sharon, who also will be running us through navigating opportunities in the Middle East after Mr. Ismaila. All right, over to you.
All right, thanks so much, Dr. Philip. So I would like to share my screen now.
Yeah, let me give you. Yeah, you should be able to do that now.
Okay. So is my screen clear? Can you see my screen? Hello?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, I can see it.
Oh,
I
okay.
can see your
And
screen.
all right, all right. Good day, everyone. It's a privilege to be part of this. I am Ismaila, and today I'll be talking to you about navigating scholarship opportunities in China and other Asian countries. I designed this presentation to be very practical. Many of us are aware that there are scholarships out there, but what we often lack is a clear step-by-step understanding of what is available, what the requirements are, and how to successfully prepare strong applications. I will start with China, the scholarship in China, which has become one of the leading destinations for international students. And then I will expand the discussion to opportunities in other Asian countries, such as South Korea, Japan, Malaysia, and Hong Kong. By the end of this session, you should have a solid roadmap for identifying and applying to scholarships that fit your academic career goals. So I will start with scholarship in China. Basically, um, these are the main type of scholarships we have in China. We have the Alliance of National and International Science Organization, which is called the ANSO Scholarship. And also we have the Chinese Government Scholarship, which is called the CSC. And as well as we have Ministry of Commerce Scholarship, which is also known as MOFCON. And also, there are other types of scholarships across China. So to start with, the first scholarship I want to highlight is the Alliance of International Science Organization, also known as ANSO. ANSO was initiated by the Chinese Academy of Sciences along with 36 partner institutions worldwide. It is designed to attract young international researchers and students to China. And it specifically funds international researchers and students to China, both postgraduate education, which include the master's and the doctoral degrees. These scholarships are available at two main host institutions, the University of Science and Technology of China, USTC, and also the University of Chinese Academy of Sciences, which is known as UCAS. Each year, ANSO supports up to 200 master students and 300 PhD students from all over the world. This makes it one of the largest and most competitive postgraduate scholarships in China, especially for science and research-focused students. You can simply type ANSO scholarship in China on Google and read more on how to navigate the website of both USTC and UCAS. Or I might share the screen and walk through the process if time permits. To be eligible for ANSO scholarship, you must meet a few important criteria, which include: one, you must not be a Chinese citizen, and second, you need to demonstrate proficiency in either English or Chinese. For the English, we can as well make use of what we call the medium of instruction certificate. This is just a letter which can be getting from the school or the university you finished your bachelor's or your master's from. It's just a letter showing that you were taught and assessed in English language. So in place of IELTS, Chinese universities they accept the medium of instruction certificate. If the program is English taught, you can use that MOI, the medium of instruction certificate. However, there are some programs or some schools that the medium of instruction is Chinese. So for you to be eligible to apply for Chinese taught program, you need to be proficient in English, and the request for HSK. HSK is just more or less like IELTS, and it has degree. So I think for masters you need minimum of HSK 3 to apply for a Chinese master's taught program. So depending on the program you're applying for. Thirdly, there are age limits. There's 30 years maximum for master's program and 35 years maximum for PhD programs. Another important point is that you need to demonstrate a strong research interest or potential. This is not just a scholarship for coursework, it's a research-oriented program. So your proposal, your academic record, and also your supervisor match will be very important. Finally, you need to meet the standard admission criteria for international students at UCAS or USTC. And during your scholarship period, you are not allowed to take up any paid assignment or jobs. This ensures that your full focus is on your studies and research. It's also important to note that you can only apply to either UCAS or USTC under ANSO scholarship. Applying to both universities equals disqualification. So that is, if you're applying for ANSO scholarship, you can either apply to USTC or you apply to UCAS. These are the two universities under ANSO scholarship. You cannot apply to both universities at the same time. So let's talk about the required documents to apply for ANSO scholarships. The application process for ANSO requires several important documents, and it's important to prepare this carefully. You need an acceptance letter from a prospective supervisor at UCAS or USTC or other CAS institutes that are under UCAS. This is one of the most important documents because it shows that a professor is willing to work with you. I think now is the best time to start mailing professors to get a letter of acceptance from them, because without you having this letter, you will not proceed. You cannot proceed to applying for ANSO scholarship. This letter is very vital in your application. So if you want to apply for ANSO scholarship, you need to could mail professors and get acceptance from them, because the letter will be issued by the professor is going to be one of the vital documents you need to submit alongside other documents. This letter is one of the most important documents because it shows that a professor is willing to work with you. In addition, you will need your academic certificate and transcript, a detailed academic CV, not just a CV. There are several types of CV. I think what is commonly known with us is just the general CV, which is more like a work CV. But for you to apply for scholarship, you need an academic CV. At the end of my talk, I will drop a link that has a sample of all these documents listed here. You can as well get multiple samples for each of those documents, the academic CV, the proposal, the SOP, and what have you. But please don't plagiarize. Just write your own, because the SOP is your story. We can't have two stories. So I'll drop the link after my session. You can as well utilize the link. The application period usually runs from November to February, so planning ahead is crucial. Many applicants start contacting professors months in advance. So for you to apply for ANSU, like I said earlier, you need to get a letter of acceptance from a prospective supervisor. And now is the best time to start good mailing professors. So what are the benefits of ANSU? So let's look at the benefit of ANSU. For master students, the monthly stipend is 3,000 Chinese yuan, and for PhD, it ranges from 6,000 to 7,000 per month, which is quite generous compared to many other scholarships. This scholarships also covers your tuition fee, it provides health insurance, it waives application fees, and also it includes a travel allowance from your home country to China. And on top of that, you receive a one-time allowance to cover your visa or residence permit expenses, and as well as accommodation is covered. Taken together, ANSU is one of the most comprehensive scholarships for postgraduate study in China. It gives students the financial security to focus entirely on research. So the second scholarship I'll be talking about is the Chinese government scholarship. This is the second major scholarship in China, and it's called Chinese Government Scholarship, also known as the CSC. These scholarships are administered by the China Scholarship Council, and it covers a much wider range of universities. I think about 279 universities are under CSC. Previously for ANSU, there are just 2 universities under ANSU. That is, if you want to apply for ANSU, you can either apply to UCAS or USTC. But for this Chinese government scholarship, the CSC scholarship, there are about 279 universities under Chinese government scholarship, which you can apply. The application usually opens in December and closes around April. Though each university may have slightly different deadlines, the results are typically announced in July, and the successful students begin their studies in September. However, you can only apply to a school for CSC scholarship. You can't apply to all the 279 universities. You can only apply. Previously, it used to be 3 universities for CSC, but now the rule has been changed. You can only apply to a university under CSC. So now, to increase the chances of getting scholarship in China, you can apply for ANSU scholarship, and at the same time, you can apply for CSC scholarships. There are 3 categories of applying for the Chinese government scholarship. We have category A, B, and C. So category A, this is applied to the Chinese embassy in your country. While category B, you apply directly to a Chinese university. And the category C, it includes other special application channels. This flexibility makes CS accessible to students in many different contexts. So for the eligibility, CSE has slightly different eligibility requirements depending on the level of study. For a bachelor's program, the maximum age is 25. For master's program, the maximum age is 35. And for PhD, the limit is 40 years. Unlike ANSU, ANSU doesn't offer bachelor's program, but CSE, they offer bachelor's program, master's program, and also they support PhD programs. Like ANSU, applicants must not be Chinese citizen, and they must prove language ability, and also they must show strong academic record and research potential. Applicants must also agree not to take up outside employment during the study period. In China, it is illegal as a student. As long as you are on S visa, you cannot work. So you should know that before coming to China, unlike other Western countries, European countries, whereby as a student you can work. But in China, if you are studying, you cannot work. So let's look at the required document to apply for Chinese government scholarships. The documents for CSE are quite similar to ANSU, but with a few additional requirements. For CSE, of course, you need an acceptance letter from a supervisor, notarized academic certificate and transcript. For ANSU, you do not need to notarize your documents, but for CSE, you need to notarize your documents before you can apply. Then also for CSE, you need a research proposal or study plan and also proof of English or Chinese proficiency. You also need your passport data page, 2 recommendation letters, and a foreign fiscal examination form. For ANSU, you do not need a foreign fiscal examination form. However, for CSE, it is one of the vital documents to submit while applying. The health check is a standard requirement for long-term visas and scholarships in China. Because naturalization and medical exams can take time, it's important to start preparing your documents early. So now let's look at the benefit of CSE scholarship. CSE provides a monthly stipend of 3,000 Chinese yuan for master students and 3,500 yuan for PhD students, and also 2,500 yuan for a bachelor's program. It also covers the tuition fee, the accommodation, the health insurance, and application fee. While the stipend are slightly lower compared to ANSU, the main advantage of CSE is accessibility. With nearly 20 universities participating, there are far more opportunities and the competition is spread across a wider applicant pool. Okay, now let's look at the third scholarship in China, which is the MOFCOM. The third major scholarship is the Ministry of Commerce Scholarship, or simply known as the MOFCON. This program is fully funded by the Chinese Ministry of Commerce and it is targeted specifically at students and professionals from developing countries. It supports master's programs of 2 to 3 years and PhD programs of 3 years in selected Chinese university. The aim is not to only support education, but also to strengthen cooperation and development between China and other nations. Unlike ANSU or CSE, the application process here requires both applying to a participating university and submitting materials to the Economic and Commercial Counselor Office at the Chinese Embassy in your country. So for the eligibility requirements are very similar to CSE. You must not be a Chinese citizen, you must show English or Chinese proficiency, you must meet age limit, 25 for bachelor's, 35 for masters, and also 40 for PhD. The required the documents are also similar to CSE. You need an acceptance letter, a notarized academic certificate and transcript, a CV, a research proposal or study plan, English proficiency certificate, passport data page, and 2 recommendation letters. Again, the foreign fiscal examination form is required, and so students must plan in advance to complete medical checks. So what are the benefits of MOFCON scholarship? MOFCON covers tuition, it covers health insurance, application fees, and accommodation, just like CSE. However, the stipend is 3,000 for masters and 3,500 Chinese yuan for PhD students. What makes MOFCON stand out are the additional allowances, which include a one-time settlement allowance of 3,000 RMB, a round-trip international airfare, and even an annual home visit airfare for multiple year programs. That is, if you are on MOFCON scholarship, you're getting paid every year to visit your home country. These benefits are especially attractive for students who may need to travel back home periodically during their studies. Other type of scholarship in China, I've talked about the ANSU scholarship, the CSE scholarship, and also the MOFCON scholarship. So beyond these national level scholarships, many provinces and universities in China offer their own funding opportunities. Most universities in China, they have what we call university scholarships. And also in some provinces, they are what we call provincial scholarships. An example include the Guizhou, the Hainan, the Hubei, the Jilin, the Shandong provincial scholarships, among others. Universities also have their own internal scholarship for international students. This program may not be as comprehensive as ANSU or CSE, but they can be valuable options, especially for students who already have a specific universities or province in mind. In some cases, competition may be less intensive compared to the larger national level programs. So, what I advise people is that when you are mailing professors for acceptance letter, you can mail as many schools as many professors in different schools. So, the number of acceptance letters you have will determine the number of scholarships you can apply to. Take for instance, for CSE, each of these schools they have slots yearly. There are some schools with higher number of slots, that is, they have higher number of chances of getting the scholarship in that particular school. So if you have what's it called, if you have many acceptance letter from different professors in different schools, take for instance, you get a letter from a professor in UCAS, you get a letter from a professor in Wuhan University, you get a letter from so other universities. So for UCAS, you know you're applying for ANSU under UCAS. For Wuhan University, you should know you're applying for CSE. And for other universities, you can apply for the provincial scholarship or you apply for university scholarships. So in total, we have the ANSU scholarship, we have the CS scholarship, we have the MOFCON, we have provincial scholarships, and as well as we have lots of university scholarships you can apply. Okay, let me quickly pinpoint some scholarships across Asian countries. China is not the only country in Asia offering general scholarships. Let me highlight a few others. In South Korea, we have the Global Korean Scholarship, which is known as GKS. It covers undergraduate and graduate programs fully funded by the Korean government. In Japan, we have the MES Scholarship. The MES Scholarship is one of the most famous, covering all levels of undergraduate to doctoral study, including airfare and living allowances. In Japan as well, we have the ADB Japan Scholarship, which supports master students in economics, management, and also related field. In Hong Kong, the Hong Kong PhD Fellowship Program provides very competitive stipends and conference funding for outstanding doctoral students. If you have a competitive document, I would advise to apply also to this scholarship in Hong Kong, which is called the HKPFS scholarship. It's a very competitive scholarship in Hong Kong. And the beauty of it is that they pay in dollars. Also in Malaysia, the Malaysia International Scholarship, MIS, and the MTCP programs are aimed at postgraduate students, especially from developing countries. Each of these programs has its own unique strength, and taken together, they show how Asia has become a global hub for higher education opportunities. So, for any of these scholarships, each of them they accept the same set of documents. So the moment you have your documents ready for a particular scholarship, it's just going to be plus or minus for the every other scholarship you might want to apply for, either in China or other Asian countries. So in conclusion, to conclude, I want to emphasize one key point. Scholarship success is not about luck. It is about preparation, persistency, and strategy. We need to start early because the best applications are never rushed. Tailor your application documents carefully to each scholarship and university. Reach out to potential supervisors and, very importantly, connect with current scholars to learn from their experience. Remember, the opportunities are there. You just need to approach them systematically and with confidence. I'll stop here for now, and I'm happy to take your questions. If you'd like to connect afterward, I'll also be available to provide further guidance. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. That's a lot of information, very concise. And I mean, these are some things that some people will charge for you to have access to this kind of information. Thank you for a job well done for putting this together. I really appreciate. Are you able to wait till the end of the second presentation before the question and answer? I know it's already midnight there.
Yes.
All right, thank you. So
And,
we
and
have
also, I will drop the link I said earlier that contains a lot of different samples of all the documents.
yeah, that'll be well
I'll drop it in the chat box.
that'll be well appreciated. Thank you so much. All right, so we'll be having the question and answer at the end of the second presentation. Sharon, are you still with us?
Yes,
All
yes.
right, so let me do a brief introduction of Sharon. Sharon is a MSc, is currently doing her MSc in Rural Community Development at the American University of Beirut. She volunteers with Resolution Project and Becky Button as a Human Rights Impact Assessment team. She leads and mentors a young professional mentorship program, and she's passionate about empowering communities and promoting human rights with a focus on the community development, sexual reproductive health rights, migration rights, and fighting gender-based violence. So I think I also need to highlight that Sharon is currently doing his master's fully funded by the MasterCard Foundation at the American University of Beirut. So she'll be talking to us in the next 30 minutes about opportunities. I know she might want to speak into MasterCard Foundation and other opportunities that she's familiar with. Over to you, Sharon, and thank you for doing this with us.
Thank you so much, Philip, for the opportunity to share my journey, my academic journey with the community on this platform. Allow me share my screen. Just a minute. Confirm that you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much again for inviting me to speak to the people on this platform who have the urge of advancing their education level. And I'll basically be sharing my experience so far of being a graduate student, especially in the Middle East. And after that, we'll have question and answer session. So why would someone choose to pursue further education in the Middle East? I know most of us who have been informed about the international happenings, incidences of war in the Middle East would maybe get scared that why would someone even go to the Middle East with all the chaos, conflict, wars, and all that? Yeah, that question always come in, and a lot of friends of mine ask me, but it doesn't mean all the countries in the Middle East are infested by the war. So one would choose to go to the Middle East because it has quality education and some of the globally recognized universities, and of course the obvious one is American University of Beirut for some of us who that knows, and it's been ranked 226 globally, followed by King Abdallah University of Science and Technology, also ranked amongst the top 20 globally for research impact. The Middle East also have a lot of cultural richness and diversity. I know most of us wouldn't wish to just have the culture of background of only the African cultures, something like that, but would also want to explore some of the cultures outside of our, nationality. And Middle East has some of the amazing, rich cultures. When it comes to language, of course, you would want to learn Arabic. There's certain languages or dialects that if we hear it from other people, it sounds kind of funny. Like, for example, a greeting in Arabic, there is kifik, kifak. Now, if someone hear the word kifak, they might think it's something, bad, but yet it's just a greeting, greeting a male and a female. And also some of the culture when it comes to the social life, the food culture. Middle East has a very rich food culture, and most of their foods are, traditionally, how do I call it? I can say that it's safe for consumption. So the Middle East also have a lot of scholarships, and I'll be talking about the prestigious MasterCard scholarship at the American University of Beirut later. But also someone interested can also explore Islamic, it's called there's Islamic Development Bank Scholarship, mostly for masters and PhD. You can look out for it after, just go to Google, and then you type, I'm sure you find a lot of information about it. But it also has a lot of opportunities for development and research. Yeah. What are some of the scholarships? I already mentioned that there is MasterCard Foundation Scholarship Program. There's also something called graduate assistantships. I think this applies to most of the graduate universities, especially with my experience at the American University of Beirut. For example, if you fail to get the scholarship, you still have the opportunity to study at the university. And how do you do that? You apply to the university, if you attain your admission, you'll be able to work for the university, and the university pay you. So that payment is enough to cater for your tuition, for your living expenses, and any other academic expenses that might come along the way. And I think with American University, you work for about 4 hours per day. And I think you're paid $6 per hour. $6 per hour. You can choose to work more hours in a day. It depends on the time you have, and you get paid for that. I mentioned Islamic Development Bank Scholarship, but also there are some government and country-specific funding opportunities in the UAE and Saudi Arabia, and also Qatar. Now I'll briefly share my application journey to American University of Beirut. So when I graduated, I already told myself that I'm not going to settle for undergraduate degree. I must head straight for master's. And even before I graduated, I studied from Makerere University in Uganda. I had to make sure that I researched all the programs at the University of Interest and the programs that aligned basically with my interests and passions. And I just created something like a Google sheet and note them down. Every time I come across something, I note them down and to just keep track of them. And then after specifying or identifying particular universities with the course or the programs I'm interested in, I contacted the admissions team or the faculty for guidance on how to apply. Sometimes you can choose to send an email to them, but most of those informations are on their website. So it's just a matter of you going to the website and you search for the information about the programs, the requirements, and all that. And that is exactly what I did. So after identify the universities, I realized that most of them, especially American University, for you to apply for a program or get admitted, you need to have something called a strong statement of purpose. So besides you applying for a program at the university, of course, they need your academic documents, mostly transcripts, certificates, your bio, personal background, nationalities, and all that. Don't forget that they need a passport, especially if you're applying for an in-person program. There's some stage where they ask a statement of purpose. I don't know why I'm most times mentioning problem. So they ask a statement of purpose. And what is a statement of purpose? It's just a summary of your interest in the program you're applying for. So in this, you're going to showcase or highlight your academic qualifications, your work experiences, and motivation behind applying for a particular program. So just in a nutshell, you're expressing your intention for pursuing that particular program and why you deserve to be admitted to that program. But also you could add an instance of your interest in the university, like why the university. Of course, you have to have documents at hand. I mentioned you have to have your passport already, and if you're on this platform and you don't have a passport, have it at hand because you never know. Academic documents and others. Recommendation letter is what is asked for by most of the universities. The previous presenter mentioned that the previous presenter mentioned that sometimes even some of the scholarships ask for recommendations, but with MasterCard they don't ask. It's only the university that asks for recommendation letter, and most times they ask 2 recommendation letters. One is academic and work experience. So basically they just want to get to know about your academic competencies, or maybe if you conducted some sort of research. Yeah. And then work experience, of course, they want you to display your work experience related mostly to the program that you're applying for. Yeah, statement of purpose, you're basically telling your story, and it's best to make it personal to you. I know AI is there, you can just drop an idea, you can ask AI to write for you what a statement of purpose, but it's going to make it so generic. It's the most winning statement of purpose is you telling your story and connecting it to what you're applying for. So, as I mentioned earlier, it shows that you're fit for the program you're applying for. Why are you applying for that program in particular? Why Middle East? Why American University, for example, in particular? And yeah, keep it well structured and also personal. Now, about MasterCard Foundation Scholarship that I'm well familiar with, it offers a full scholarship, like full tuition payment, living expenses, especially for master's students or PhD students. You can choose to live either in the school dormitory, or they give you an extra rent fee for you to just stay outside of the university, because they assume we're adults and you can, easily take care of yourself while in the graduate school. They also give books, their travel expenses. You have an opportunity to go in an academic year, you go back to visit your families. They offer all other kind of support. There is leadership development and mentorship. As you join, you already assigned to a mentor from the MasterCard Foundation staff at the university, and they'll be in charge of, guiding you towards achieving your academic excellence, personal development, but just any kind of support that you need while you're at the university, and also while in the country per se. And leadership development, there are a lot of leadership development opportunities they support you in. If you choose to become a leader at school, they offer you full kind of support. If you choose to be maybe even back in your country, any kind of leadership roles or opportunities that you choose to engage in, they're going to give you full support. There's also an aspect of internship, and they offer mandatory internship opportunities to scholars. And how do they do it? Before you graduate, you must do a mandatory internship for you to qualify to graduate. And also there are other community engagement opportunities at the university, but also back in your home country. I think MasterCard collaborates with the university. There's a department called Civic Engagement Office. If you want to do a community service related activity, you just have to write a proposal, you present to MasterCard, then MasterCard will forward that to the Civic Engagement Office, and then they give you some sort of small financial support for you to implement your community engagement activity. Yeah. So I mentioned that it's a full scholarship, and with full scholarship, you'll be able to fully concentrate in your academics without any kind of interruptions with or thoughts thinking that how am I going to, finish my school fees, tuition payment and all that. But one thing that the previous presenter mentioned is that you are not allowed to work in the country when on a scholarship, because you're on full scholarship. What else would you need money for? And you're given stipend, monthly stipend to cater for your other personal needs and feeding costs. So you're not allowed to work. What is the eligibility for one to join MasterCard scholarship? They started the PhD admissions last year. This is a second cohort. I think the call for application started 2 weeks ago. Anyone who's interested can just go to the website of American University of Beirut or American University of Beirut Mastercard Foundation Scholarship website. The call is already out. And the eligibility is for you to be 35 years, unfortunately, below for you to qualify for the scholarship PhD. For masters, it is 18 years up to 35 years. And the scholarship is open to any African country and also some of the Middle Eastern countries, I think with the exceptions of Saudi Arabia, Qatar and the rest, but mostly open to some of the Middle Eastern countries who has been experiencing conflict, Syria, Egypt, and the rest. But the prestigious scholarship mostly, I think it takes about 80% of Africans. So I can say it is an African-based scholarship. Of course, overall MasterCard is like biggest percentage takes Africans. Now I'll talk about something called cold emails and networking. I think this applies mostly to PhDs, although some of the master's scholarship or master's admissions also require you to, I mentioned earlier that you have to identify a faculty with your shared interests, but this doesn't apply so much with American University of Beirut, because I remembered when I was applying for a scholarship for admission at American University of Beirut, I didn't see anything like you identifying the faculty and you share, an email asking for admission. I just straight away went to the website and applied to the university with the required documents and necessities. So with PhD, I mentioned that I will be speaking from my experience because I'm also navigating PhD applications. So with PhD, this is for those who want to apply for PhD at Mastercard Foundation, American University of Beirut. You need to first reach to your faculty of interest, and then you identify what you're interested in studying. If you're interested in human rights, if you're interested in something like related to epidemiology, you identify the faculty, you go to the profiles of some of the professors in those faculty, you get to their emails, and then you send a very concise and respectful, personalized emails. And what should you include in the email? You just show your interest in them being your supervisor. And what should you include in that email? Of course, introduce yourself, your name, who you are, your background in the master's, but also any research experience you have. If you've ever published a research or a thesis, you also include that. And then you also share your CV. Very short and brief. I think should be maximally 2 pages, not more than that, because most of these professors or doctors do not have a lot of time to read. And also make sure that you don't use AI again, because most of these professors, they know AI 100% and they have systems that can easily detect that you use AI. And most of them will easily know that you use AI because AI, of course, provide generic information. So make sure that you make it part of you and personalize it. Most times they don't respond. You can send emails to about 10 or 15 or even more to potential supervisors, but they don't reply you. What you could do is keep following up with them. Most of them are so busy and their emails just get flooded and they don't get to see it. So resend the email and also go through, you can also choose to go through their personal assistant's email to get to them. So don't just send an email and you sit and wait for them for 1, 2, 3, 4 months, and yet time is running and probably the scholarships you're eyeing at approaching the deadlines. So while navigating graduate school, whether for master's or PhD, what should you look for? I mentioned that you should look for programs that fit with your goals, passion, interest, your academic experiences so far, but also something that you're passionate about, but also something that align with your future personal or career goals or missions. you should also look for scholarship and funding options, because studying out of the country is very expensive. Most times, if you're not from an economically well functioning family, you cannot easily afford. So there are a lot of scholarships outside of our countries that you should explore. The previous presenter mentioned something about language requirements. Yes, most of the scholarships, even at American University, you have to have an English proficiency document. The fact that this country is an Arabic speaking country, so they want to make sure that you're able to speak English. Actually, this even applies to the nationals, not only the non-nationals in the country. And I think there are 3 highly recognized English language tests or proficiency tests. There is Duolingo. I think Duolingo is the easiest to pass, and most of the universities do not accept it, but American University of Beirut accept it. There's also something called TOEF, and that is Test of English as Foreign Language. There is also IELTS, that is International English Language Testing System. The last 2 are the most highly recognized by the universities, especially in the Europe, Australia, and I think China, and irrespective of, I think, American University of Beirut. So you can choose to use any of those 3 for acquiring your document for English proficiency, because if you don't submit it, you won't get admitted to the university, and when you don't get admitted to the university, you don't get the scholarship. Because the first stage for you to get a scholarship is applying to the university, and if you don't get admitted to the university, you're not going to, of course, gain the scholarship. Again, another thing for you to look for while you navigate, opportunities in the Middle East, specifically, is cultural and social environment. You need to be, I can say, mentally and emotionally prepared to go through the cultural changes, the new social environment, because the fact that in Africa we are so social, for example, you can never pass an elder without saying hi. Not even an elder, you can never pass a stranger without saying hi. Here is different. People just mind your business, not because they don't want to associate with you, but it's the culture here. I remember when I first came, for the first 1 or 2 weeks, I could say hi to everyone. And then for the first 1 week, like, I say hi and nobody even say hi or hi is me back. Then I got so much, disturbed. I was like, why are they not saying hi to me? Is it because I'm black? This. But then I realized that it is their culture and it is something normal. Not that they don't want to associate with people, but it's just a normal life there. Then, of course, there's the culture of language, Arabic. Most times, if you do not know the basic Arabic, you cannot be able to easily do grocery shoppings and all that. So even before you maybe think of coming to the country, just make sure that you have some basics. Maybe something, hi, how are you? What's the price of this? Something like it will help you, because the Middle East, I mentioned that it's an Arabic speaking country, and most times those who have not gone to school do not fully understand English 100%. Then the next thing for you to think through is also the living costs and sustainability. That is, if you choose not to apply for a scholarship, maybe go through the graduate assistantship that I mentioned about early on, because they pay you as you study, and probably maybe the payment is not equated to the scholarship stipend. The scholarship stipend could be more than the graduate assistantship, so that would require you to have a kind of a comprehensive plan, financial plan, on how you're going to live your life in the country, I can say. Yeah, I'll also just share my experiences of the challenges I faced and how I managed to go through them. I know adapting to a new culture, but also a new teaching style is very hard. Our education system in our countries, maybe Uganda, Nigeria, Ghana, and all that, it could be totally different from the education or teaching system in China, Lebanon, or any other Middle East or Asian country. So you need to be well prepared for that. Probably most of the academic requirements is for you to do presentations almost every, week. You have to have essays, you have to, attend conferences each and every time. So those are things that you should familiarize yourself with so that you don't get surprised when you get to know about them while pursuing your study. And then the next thing is also building a very good support system or community at the university. Living out of the country, your country is something that is quite challenging. I mentioned that when I came here, I wanted to greet everybody and say hi to everybody, and that is something different here. So how would you make sure that even besides people trying to act like they don't want to associate, and yet it is what the life here, just make sure that, for example, if you come across any African, make sure that you try to build and connect with them, because if you don't, probably the relationship is going to be between you and you alone. You go to class, you get back to your room, you go to class, you get back to the library and all that, and that is very challenging. I'm not saying that there's no kind of social life here or outside of other countries. I don't know about China, but here is a bit different. So if you don't kind of build a support system, even just one or two people that you could associate with, maybe talk to, academics can be challenging. Sometimes you just need someone to talk to, but also make sure that you all the time in contact with the people back home. Yeah. Managing academic pressure, it can get hard most of the times, but as I mentioned, if you have a good support system, but also making a very close relationship with your supervisor, I can say, or maybe professors can be very helpful. But also Mastercard scholarship, most of the times make sure that they check in with the students. You can book academic sessions with the representative. As I mentioned, we are attached to a mentor, but there's also another section for academic mentorship that you can always go to for any kind of support. Yeah. I think this is the end of my presentation. Maybe just to recap on what I talked about is that start early applications. Don't wait to say that I'm going to apply in 2-3 days. You'll be shocked because probably you have never gone through the application requirements. Before you know it, they're asking for maybe a proof of academic excellence or something from your university, and within 2-3 days, most times you won't be able to get the document required from your from a university. So make sure that you submit your application very, very early. Yeah, check for funding before applying. Aside of Mastercard scholarship that I talked about, some of the scholarships, probably in some of the Middle Eastern countries, I mentioned Islamic Development Bank scholarship. Some of them would not be offering full scholarship. They offer partial or a half scholarship. And if you do not thoroughly read some of the conditions, then you just apply for them, and before you know it, you accept the offer, and then you get to know that it's partial, and then you don't have other means of catering for other financial demands, maybe demands for the scholarship and demands for the program you're pursuing at the university. It's going to be very hard for you. So before you apply for any scholarship, even just a university, make sure that you understand wholly comprehensively about the requirements of the scholarship, but also of the program you are applying for. Yeah, I talked about network and making sure that you have a close support system to support you with the entire journey outside of your country. Yeah, that is it. Thank you. I think it's time for question and answers, and I'll be happy to respond to each and every question of yours, and I would also be happy to network if anybody who might want an extra support, especially when it comes to applying for Mastercard scholarship. You can contact me, maybe Philip. If Philip is okay with it, I can drop my email on the chat box, and then anyone who wants to reach out can reach out to me for any further kind of support. Thank you, Philip. Over to you.
All right, thank you so much. So anyone that is interested in connecting with Sharon, please connect with her. And like she said, she's happy to guide anyone through. And I think our first speaker also mentioned the same thing. Don't be shy to connect with these people. They can guide you in your application journey. So now is the time for question and answer. So if you have any question, can you please signify by using raising hand emoji, and then I can call you. Or if you are comfortable, you can also ask put that in the chat, and then I can read it out. All right, Mukala, go ahead.
Good evening. Thank you so much for the question, Anya. It was really an impactful session. My question is, I actually want to apply for the same program you are currently doing in Lebanon. But you said I thought most of these Mastercard programs they don't really require the proficiency like IELTS or TOEFL. Like for your own application, did you submitted IELTS or TOEFL? Because I'm also planning to write the same exam for the same application.
Hi, Mumukaila Ojo. I mentioned that the English proficiency is not for you. For you, don't submit it to the scholarship. Is at the stage of you applying to the university. It's a university that asks for it. Remember, I mentioned that the first step is for you to apply to the university. Okay, with Mastercard Scholarship, you can apply to the university at the same time, the scholarship. So and then you qualify for the second stage of running for the scholarship only when you get an admission to what? To the university. That's when they probably, if they assess that you qualify to run for the scholarship, then they maybe probably send you an invitation for an interview, something like that. But the English proficiency is submitted to the university in order for you to get admitted to the program. And most times they use TOEF and IELTS. During my time, I used Duolingo. Maybe I'll just have to check, but you too can check on their website on which one they're using for this cohort, maybe the incoming academic year. But they used to accept all the three. And in my time, I used Duolingo because Duolingo is a bit easy for one to pass compared to the other two. So you can choose to use any of them. But again, I am sure that the university give instructions of which one you could use, or maybe the one they would want you to use preferably. Yeah, but yes, you have to choose an English proficiency for you to get admitted for the program at the university, not the scholarship. The scholarship application does not require that. I hope I answered you.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. Any other question? Any other question? Okay, I have a question for Mr. Ishaka. Um, for the scholarship in China, with the money that they pay and the living condition in China, is the scholarship all the scholarship? I think majorly they are all paying around 30,000 for masters and about 35 and above for PhD. So is that enough to survive in the country?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Philip. Yeah, the stipend is more than enough to survive. And of course, we are coming from Africa, so I wouldn't expect one coming here to start lavishing the money. But if you spend wisely, yeah, you can as well save from the stipend. It's more than enough to survive. Yeah. And don't forget that for ANSU, PhD pay as high as 6,000 to 7,000 RMB. So
Okay.
it's very much okay to survive with.
And a follow-up question on that. How's the academic landscape over there in terms of racism and the academic system compared to maybe Nigeria and other countries?
Yeah, when it comes to racism, I think for every country that happens, but it's very much minimal here in China. And then just like the second speaker said, you are in a new country, so you just have to behave and follow the rules and regulations of the country, and you'll be fine. But when it comes to research, I can't really say more about those in humanities and arts courses. But the moment you are a science student and you are just offering a research-based master's or PhD, then you should know you are here for work. And that's one of the reasons why they don't accept or they don't allow students to work because they believe that the research is a work on its own. So why do you need to work extra to get paid? So the research is just too serious that, especially for those in UCAS or ANSO scholarships, yeah, the research is always vigorous. And also, they normally have graduation criteria. There's some schools for masters you need to publish in Q1 journal, and I'm sure you know publishing in the Q1 journal is not something I just wake up and start. So you just have to work hard and get the results.
Yeah, talking about that, I know when you look at the most of these journals, publication outlets, you will always see China. At least they are publish one or two paper in any new field that you ever see. Is it like these people do not really sleep when it comes to publishing, and are they expecting almost the same thing from international students that is coming into research as well?
Yeah, the truth is, I think they usually have funding. Yeah, the government and the bodies are supporting research. So that's one of the things we lack in Africa. There's not always enough funding to fund our research. But here they used to have more than enough funding to do those research. Coming to talk of if they sleep or not, these people they work like clock. Yeah. If you are coming to China to study, you should know you are coming here to work hard. They don't, of course, they have time for other things like sport and other things, but then they take more of the time to do research because they want results. Your prof will tell you, I need the results, I need the results, I need the results. So that's it. So if you are coming to China to study, then you should, if you are coming to Asia countries generally, be it Hong Kong, Japan, South Korea, you should know you're coming to work hard.
Thank you so much. Over to you, Fabumi. Talking, I can hear you. Fabumi. Yeah. Oh, Mike Mukala, do you still have any question? Mukala? Do we still have Fabumi on the call? You wanted to ask a question. Okay, so if there's no other question, I think we can call it a wrap for today. Thank you so much again to our guest speaker, Sharon. Okay, Ambrose, go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much uh, for uh, for this. I just have one question to I think to Sharon. Like, also want to know about do AUB also have science? Do they also support students who want to pursue science courses like engineering, something like that? And also, what are their what I think you talked about the PhD only. What about the masters? Is the application also open, or I don't know? Maybe you could also throw some light. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ambrose, for that question. I mentioned that the Mastercard Foundation Scholarship at the university offers both masters and PhD. Yes, the master's scholarship, I think the application window or period usually opens from, if I remember, I think it opens in November, from November to April or May, the application. So the intake is annually, and it's only for fall intake semester that starts in August every year. That is for masters, and it's open to any program, whether engineering, science-based, medicine, humanities, arts, anything is open to any program, with the exception of online masters. The scholarship also is offered for those who want to study online if they don't want to come to the country, but there are other programs that are offered by the university that is entirely online or virtually studied. MasterCard also offers a scholarship for that. I think it's only for computer engineering, and I think education and business. Yes, business related, computer engineering and education, computer education. For those three programs, the scholarship is offered for them online. So for masters, it's for any kind of program, engineering, science-based, medicine, anything. You just have to apply and get admitted to it. Application opens every year from November to, I think, April or May. It's the same application window to the university. So yeah, but the intake is annually from fall semesters. That is August too. I hope I answered your question, Ambrose.
And to add to that, I think the current application for PhD is for those that are starting in spring, right?
Yes, for spring.
And like she mentioned, the master scholarship is they only admit for 4 semesters. So you need to I think the application should be out now for you to apply to the school, and within the application you can signify if you want to apply for Mastercard Foundation scholarship. All right, there's a question from Fabumi. Thank you so much, Sharon, and thank you, Abus, for that question. Thank you for the insightful presentation, Mr. Ismail. Please, can you please clarify whether the motorization of documents in China is carried out in the same manner as in European countries, particularly through the Ministry of Education?
All right, thank you for the question. Actually, for you to notarize your document to apply for Chinese government scholarships and probably MOFCOM, so the process is that you go with your document to the Minister of Education in Abuja. I think that's the only place you can get it done. And then after you are set with him, you post to the Minister of Foreign Affairs. So for you to notarize your document, oh, sorry, notarization can be done basically by visiting a notary public, or you go to a federal high court. For you to go to the Ministry of Education and MOFA, that's authentication. But for notarization, you just need to visit a notary public lawyer, or you go to a federal high court and get it done. Yeah, I think I've answered the question.
All right, thank you for that. Any one last question? One last question. All
Okay,
right,
sir, I have a question, sir.
go ahead.
Oh, to the first speaker, concerning the notarization of the documents of us academic CV and another document, please, I still want him to like the emphasize on that. I don't get the point that we have to go to the federal high court. Is it after we have been awarded the scholarship or before?
All right. So, like I said, one of the documents you need is your transcript and your certificates, be it your master's if you're applying for a PhD scholarship, or your bachelor's if you're applying for a master's program. So what you need to do is just to go with the original of your certificate and your transcript, and then you make a photocopy as well. So I would advise you make a color photocopy of the original certificate and your transcript. So you have to proceed with both the original and the photocopy to either a notary public lawyer or the Federal High Court. Once you get there, just tell them you want to notarize your document. They know what to do. They are going to make some stamp and some signatures on the document. So you need this notarized copy before getting the scholarship. It's one of the documents to apply for the scholarships. Okay, so you're not notarizing after, you are notarizing before. However, if you're applying for the ANSWER scholarship, you do not need to notarize your document. Just apply with the plain document you have directly from your school. But if you're applying for CS scholarship, you need to notarize the document before you apply. It's advisable because that's the requirement for CS scholarship. They request for a notarized copy of your document. Okay, so I think I've answered the question.
So thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. Thank you so much, Sharon and Mr. Zeka, for joining the call today, for accepting to do this with us, and for sharing from your wealth of knowledge on navigating graduate school application in Middle East and in Asia. This is well appreciated. Thank you so much for your time. And we do appreciate all the effort you put into making today a reality. And thank you to everyone that also joined the call today and waited to this time to the end of the call. And I do hope that you have learned one or two things. Next week, we'll be having another guest speaker who will be talking about navigating a graduate school application in Europe. And then a week after, we'll be talking about navigating graduate school opportunity in Canada. I think that will be that should be the last webinar in this series. So stay tuned and keep an eye on your email. I think the registration link is still the same link you used to register for today if you want to join other webinars that we have. And I look forward to each and every one of you securing one opportunity or the other after this call. Thank you once again, and take care and best wishes in your scholarship pursuit. Thank you once again, our guest speaker, and we do appreciate you. Bye for now.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.